Welcome again to Intelligent Mischief World. This is our podcast where we catch you up on not only pop culture but things that generally Black people are fans of, right? And what's the meaning of that, and how's that actually help the world? I'm one of your hosts, Terry Marshall, founder of Intelligent Mischief. Have a host.
Aisha.
Hey
everybody, I'm Zen. You know what I'm saying? Queens, we in the building, y'all.
We got everybody on Zen. Which should be known as. So let's start, actually let's just catch up, How's y'all summer been?
Yeah, so far so good. I went to North Carolina a few weeks ago.
Oh yeah.
That was fun. My nephew graduated from high school.
Oh wow.
Yeah. So
it's a big change.
Have you been DJing a lot this summer?
Yes, actually I have. Yeah. We were at Artspiration at Roth Art Life Center out in Brooklyn. So that's been fun. I was doing a farmers market out in Queens. It's called Sovereign's Market. So yeah, that was really cool. You know, Black businesses and all that, supporting Black businesses. That was a beautiful thing. Yeah, that's pretty much it. And then some baby showers and family events and stuff like that. So staying busy.
Cool.
Yeah, it's been fun.
You still have to get to one of your sets.
Please.
I know.
Please.
I have social anxiety.
Oh, okay. So that's what it is.
Generally, in terms of like leaving the house.
Yeah.
And stuff, yeah.
Just staying.
That's what it is.
It's gonna be therapy.
Yeah. It's good to get out sometimes. It's good to stay in sometimes. Probably better to stay in most of the time. But.
No, but I feel like New York summer, like how I feel about the summer, is like, okay, we're like officially, not officially, but we're like almost halfway. No, we're not halfway.
We're kind of halfway.
We're
halfway through summer.
Almost halfway through summer. Yeah, And I'm kind of like, oh no, like I don't feel like I've done like any epic New York summer stuff yet. And I kind of have a policy of not leaving New York for the summer because I'm like, New York summer is what we pay the rent for. And that city tax, which is for real. Like the rent part's a joke, but like the city tax, like we pay a whole city tax, just to live in this city. And part of that is like summer stay, Shakespeare in the Park, like the block parties, the festivals, like that. I don't know exactly where the money goes, but I imagine some of it is like, to pay for all of the like free summer stuff. So I'm really I'm desiring to like get out and have a little bit more like get on my bike, like go to the beach, things like that. But we'll see. I did travel a bit so far this summer, despite my self-imposed rule of not traveling out of New York.
Where did you travel to?
Well, we went to New Orleans.
Oh, yeah, that's right.
Early in the summer, like in June.
Wow. Where did you go to New Orleans?
We went to New Orleans for Collage Fest and for collage as street artist residency that I was participating in.
Oh yeah.
You like questions? I like questions actually. You have no idea. I really like questions. Like if ever those surveys that like pop up on your screen. I'm like, yes, please. I love answering questions.
You're like, this is great.
Yes, another survey.
Oh, did you put up any street art while you was there?
Yep.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Where?
You mean where in New Orleans?
We're in New Orleans. And what was your street art that you put up?
It was collages.
Ah.
Like what I do. And Mostly in the Bywater and Marigny.
Oh yeah.
And a little bit downtown.
Okay.
Yeah.
We have to flash some pictures on screen.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, it was cool because I wanted to like, I want to be a street artist, like do a little bit of street art, and like I wanted to ultimately like I want to make large murals out of the collages. Anyway, so it just felt cool to like have like a structure to like learn how to like. I know how to weave paste, but it was nice to have a structure that like where we learned how to like print and like just different options of how to like print to scale, to be able to do things like murals. And like it was nice because it was a range of like teaching us how to do really mini ones on like basically like postal stickers. So like the postal labels, like they're kind of like free stickers, and you can just grab them at the post office. And then if you like do graffiti or if you draw or do collages or anything, you can do it right onto the postal label, and then just like peel and like stick it up really easily outside. So I just learned about that, which just makes doing little ones really easy. And then we learned how to like make a collage, scan it, and then scale it up a little bit bigger. And then how to like we paste up the panels. So I'm kind of excited about that, and I'm excited to give these bros out here in New York City that are taking up all of the space on the street for their street art. I'm excited to give them a little like, it's not competition, but like, to claim some space.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Good.
Yeah. It was fun.
What was your favorite part about New Orleans? Residency.
The favorite part about the residency was for like 3 or 4 days, every day going into the studio, and there being like other people who were there and just like getting in and like making art together and like not collaborating exactly, but like making art side by side.
Yeah. And
like collage is like kind of very obsessive art making in a way. I think all art making is and should be obsessive, but like it was really cute to just see like the culture of collaging. Like it's very insider-ish, like, but it's like even at the festival, like it was or at the conference, which was Collage Fest, like it was like a conference. There were like chairs set up and people speaking like panels, and then on the sides were like all these tables with like people like making collages, and it's like everyone has like a glue stick, a little pen knife, a pair of scissors, and everyone's like, and then you like flip through the like magazines or whatever, and you like, so it's just like it's like so weird to be in a place where there's like 150 people, and everyone has that kind of like motion, stand up, go over, like flip through, tear it out, go cut it, like stick it. So it's like everyone's doing these motions, but it's like 100 people, and you realize, oh, this is like, I actually realized this was like my nerddom,
right?
I was like, oh my god, this is like a nerddom, like collage artist, and like everyone has such a different style and the way people talk about like, anything from like, this is this newfangled like pen knife that you can put on your finger like that. So like tools and techniques, all the way to like philosophy and like inspiration and like what kind of things people are exploring. So it was like really cute and fun. And a lot of that was the residency. A lot of that was the festival itself or the conference. So in general, that was a good time. But I just really love New Orleans in general. So I mean, the fact that it's there every year, like it's just like amazing.
Was your summer so far, Terry?
I've been to New Orleans. My favorite part was going to Baldwin and Co.
Oh, the bookstore.
The bookstore / cafe named after James Baldwin. If you're in New Orleans, go check it out. It's dope. It's really dope. Excuse me. My other favorite part was picking different co-working spaces to go and chill at in the daytime and work. But also chill. These co-working spaces are dope.
They have a lot of day passes, right?
Yeah. I'll get a day pass and it's like free snacks and kombucha.
Cool. That's how you get me in there. Free snacks and kombucha.
That's all I need. Especially, I forgot the name of the one in New Orleans that's really dope. I went into. It's in that same building as the museum.
Yeah, there's like a contemporary museum downstairs.
Yeah,
I forget the name of that too. Something cultural center?
something like that. It's really dope. It's really dope. And just hang around, in the neighborhoods in New Orleans and stuff, and going by B Mike.
Yeah.
B Mike Studios and stuff. Oh yeah,
Studio B. Yeah.
Studio B. Yeah. Anyway, all of this dope. And then going up to the Kripalu Yoga Retreat Center. Western Mass. That was cool just to get outside there and stuff. That was a cool time. Cool, interesting time. I should have a lot more.
It's life changing. Yeah. I mean, I was there for a retreat. And
I was there chilling. Chilling.
Yeah.
I was hanging out at the gift shop. People know me by first name. And,
Really?
Yeah, Terry, back again. Yeah, a long time.
give me some of those beads.
So cute.
You get another book, some beads. We're good out here.
Wow.
Listen to that. But it's nice. Yeah, it's a beautiful campus. And it's amazing. See, like, the institution out there is like, it's just trees and mountains in this institution that's there. And people just rolling up. Some people are like staying there for weeks or a month or something. And some people just coming through for the day. And it's like 5 floors. It's like 2 or 3 buildings or something like that. There's a lake.
Food.
Oh yeah.
Buffet style food.
Yeah. Breakfast, lunch, and dinner is totally provided.
Ayurvedic menu.
Ayurvedic menu. It is chill. Like, some of the rooms, they have these nice rooms. They had workout room. They also had
They have a sauna.
yes, a sauna, massage. You could get massages. You can get that other stuff. They had some rooms that just like chill rooms, and so like they had a lot of stuff. Is
this
pretty
like a retreat center, or it's a retreat center?
Yeah, it's kind of like an education center.
Right.
It's like a school, and you can do retreats there.
That's
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
There's a Black Man's Retreat coming up there.
okay.
Yeah.
That's gonna be interesting.
I Am God's Day Part 2.
Oh my god, y'all should.
That's gonna be a special episode. Self-care, y'all.
How'd you enjoy the retreat?
It was amazing. It was life changing. That's all I can say. Can't divulge too much, but no, it was good.
Secrecy.
No, I wasn't.
That's good.
It was making sacred art retreat. So it was like a retreat for artists of many different disciplines, and yeah, it was beautiful.
There's some secrecy swearing.
I don't remember.
Okay. That's part of it. That's part of it. She's doing very well.
Right.
I'm the one that's messing up.
Yeah.
And we had to keep secrets. Important ones. Like, why are you telling me? Because I can keep it. Alright, so with summer, we know that comes with blockbuster movies and films,
That's true.
right? So, I'm gonna. Who here has seen? Was it Across the Spider-Verse?
Is that what that one's called?
This one's Across, right?
It's like into a cross and like underneath.
Underneath. The first one's Enter the Spider-Verse.
Enter?
Yeah, the first one's Enter the
Yeah.
Spider-Verse. The second one is Across the Spider-Verse.
Yeah.
And the third one's Beyond the Spider-Verse.
Yep.
Okay.
Okay. So, who saw Across the Spider-Verse?
Wait, is that the one we just saw?
Yo, what do we think? And actually, no, I'm going to cut to the chase. Spider-Punk.
Yes, that is.
Oh, I mean.
No, I'm not even going to talk about Spider-Punk yet. I want to talk about my observation. All right, before the movie came out, all of the interviews were like Miles Morales, what's the one of the girls' name?
Spider-Gwen.
Spider-Gwen, and like the guy who plays Nick on the New Girl. He plays Peter.
Peter B. Parker.
Oh, he.
Yeah.
Oh wow.
So the interview I saw before was them, and it was very much like Miles Morales is the leading character. Like Shamik Moore is Miles Morales. He's the lead. Spider-Gwen, and it's about like their relationship. When the movie came out, and you saw Spider-Punk, and it was played by Daniel Kaluuya.
Yeah.
All of a sudden, I feel like I saw interviews where like Shamik Moore was like, I'm shocked. Nobody's talking about Miles Morales. Everyone's talking about Spider-Punk. And it's Daniel Kaluuya. Like, he's like, I don't know. So that's all I gotta say so far.
Spider-Punk stole the show.
Yeah.
I think I saw some things that were mentioning that, so I was like, oh, okay, I want to see him. I was like expecting to see him, but yeah, watching it when he came on screen was like, oh no, this is ill. Like, this is ill. Like, and I honestly, like, I've seen Spider-Punk in a comic book because I'm an avid comic book collector.
If you only see
right.
how much collecting.
The piles around the house, y'all never see that. But I honestly, in a comic book store, I've stayed away from Spider-Punk because I don't know. I thought like maybe it was kind of cheesy from the cover, right? And I never knew he was black. I didn't know he was black. I was just kind of like, oh, that's interesting. They're doing Spider-Punk. That's kind of cool, interesting, but I don't know. It's not. I don't know. Maybe it's going a little overboard or something. And then have him in the movie which showed one that he was black. I was like, what? Two, he looked cool. He like Miles Morales says it. He's like, yeah, how do you still look cool without your mask on? Like the design of him was really dope. His hair, like the kind of locks he had, it puffed out. It was like, this is dope. And he had the essence. And Daniel said in interviews that he really, really was that he looked at and he was trying to portray like I think like the 1970s Britain punk scene, right? Like that's I feel like punk is born in New York and London or Britain the same simultaneously in a way across changing. But I feel like the popular images that we know of punk, like the huge mohawks and the spikes, like that look came out of like Britain. Punk early in New York looked slightly different, even though that was like the first place it was beginning. But so anyway, for him to have like a black punk character that he was drawing from that, and he's putting into the character, right? And with the politics, right? Because that's the thing. He come on when he's like he looks at spoiler alert. When the baby's crawling, the baby's not listening to what's it, Peter B. Parker, and the baby's not listening. He goes, "Oh my God, the child's an anarchist." And I was like, "Yo, like I don't know, those little things where he's obviously kind of pointing towards the politics of what punk is, and he's like, and that he's displaying the politics and the actions that he's taking, right? He's just like, man, forget these rules of like this. Like he's down with the order, but of the Spider-Verse, but he's also like, I'm not with these like rigid rules when they don't make sense. And he's willing to break them. And he like saves Miles. Like he's like by like I just thought it was dope. Like he saves Miles. Again, spoiler alert. But if you ain't seen the movie by now, it's your fault. I'm about to tell you. When he tells Miles, he's training, he's kind of like helping Miles when he's like, yo, like just, he's telling him how to use his powers more effectively. And he helps him break out by using powers. And he quits. Then, anyway, I'm saying all this stuff. It was just, he's in it for like 5 minutes probably total. And you still come away being like, yo, I want to be Spider-Punk. Like, yo, that character is dope. And he steals the show. I feel like the popularity of him, it feels like there's a hunger for whatever he's representing. You know what I mean? I feel like that.
Takes notes. What do people want?
Exactly.
Yeah, Spider-Punk, that was like one of my favorite parts of the entire movie. Like you said, like it just that like his politics, the look, the animation, like how his animation was so different from everyone else's.
Mhm.
Like, yeah. And honestly, like he didn't have like that many minutes like on screen,
Right.
you know. But every time he showed up, it was so impactful.
Yeah, it was very exciting.
Yeah, and one of the interviews, Daniel Kaluuya was saying that like he just that like he took from sort of the punk era in London in the 70s, and then also the grime era
Yes.
as well, like in the late 90s.
That's right.
And,
Oh my
early
gosh.
2000s. So it's like you felt that, you know, like that sort of counterculture. And yeah, and I was the only brother really helping Miles at the end of it. You know what I'm saying? It was like, thank you. Him and we can't forget Spider-Bite.
Oh yes, Spider-Bite.
Yeah.
That's
She
right.
made a quick appearance.
That's right.
But she was in there as well, you know, and that was the interesting thing too. That you had all these diverse characters, but they felt very fleshed out, you know. Even Michael O'Hara.
I think that's his name.
Spider-Man 2099.
Mm-hmm.
Even his character felt like there was so much depth to him. You know, Spider-Woman as well.
Yeah.
You know, Issa Rae had killed it. I think, you know,
Pregnant Spider-Woman.
Pregnant, yeah. It was,
I love that.
Yeah, it was a really good movie. Just as a movie, you know, it was really good. Like visually, how they use like the colors to progress the story as well was amazing. And then Donald Glover. That was a pleasant
Yeah. Oh my God, Donald Glover
as the Prowler.
Yeah, the full Prowler suit.
Yeah.
They use that to connect across all the like the old Spider-Man movies with MCU and the Spider-Verse, across Spider-Verse kind of being in the Sony Spider-Verse. So, yeah.
Cool. Couple of thoughts, questions, really.
Mm-hmm.
A, do y'all think it was better than? I'm gonna ask all the questions, so I don't forget. Do you think it was better than the first one? B, what do you think about the idea of like canon events? Because I've been seeing like that as a meme now, trending on like TikTok and Instagram. And I can't remember my good question, but it'll come back to me. That's the tricky.
I think. I think it was better than the first one, personally. I'm a fan of Spider-Man through the 90s animated TV show. Like, that was my, like, that cartoon, X-Men cartoon, really, that's how I learned English, honestly. So it's like, so I have, like, a deep, like, connection for that. And so, like, I think one of my favorite things about the 90s cartoon was when they did like crossovers and stuff like that, and this kind of harkened on that for me and just like really expanded on it, it was like a roller coaster ride almost, you know, because there are moments where you're feeling joyful, you're laughing. Even Spot, like as comical as he was when you first meet him and Miles beat him up, but then you realize like he's like serious about like Spider-Man or Miles being his nemesis, and like this guy won't stop until, you know, he brings everyone down and brings the world down. Like, and then from the last time you see him, you're kind of like, damn, I'm kind of scared. You know, so to kind of see a villain progress like that in one movie is kind of amazing. Like, you start off as like this kind of goofball character, and then you end it like more menacing. You know, it's like, damn. Like honestly, like when Miles showed up in the wrong universe, I was scared for him, man. I was like, yo, what's gonna happen? Right. You know, I was like, damn. So that's my takeaway from it. I think it was better than the first one. I can't remember the second question.
Oh, canon events.
Canon events. I think that was a smart move by the writers of the creative team behind this. honestly, if Sony was smart, they would just let them like be in control of all the sort of Sony Marvel stuff.
Yeah.
Because the beauty of Marvel is that the interconnected universe, I think, allowed fans to be more invested, because now we're like looking for these little Easter eggs and stuff, and like I think when it's not connected, or like some movies are ignored or whatever, it's like it kind of removes you out of it, and then it's like you're not as invested. Canon event.
Canon events. Yeah, I would be interested to see how people are playing with that.
Oh my god, it's everything. Like, I don't know if you can do hashtag canon events on Instagram, but like, it's like, it's kind of like something happens, but I'm not getting involved because it's a canon event. That's how they're using it. So it's kind of like, the roof of my house fell in, but I'm not going to do nothing about it because it's a canon event.
Oh my god.
Like, I mean, not exactly that, but something like that. Where people are just, it's kind of like a way of saying, like, I'm staying out of it.
Right.
Yeah.
Oh, that is hilarious. That's a hilarious use of it. It makes me think. Well, one, I think, man, I like both. I don't like in terms of which one's better, the first one, the second one. I like both. It's like I feel some loyalty to the first one because I feel like the first one was groundbreaking. Like
introducing Miles.
Introducing Miles to a wider public. The animation, period. I remember seeing the preview for it, and I was like, "Whoa, this is some next level."
Mm-hmm.
And like even stuff I've read about afterwards, they were like, "There's some article I have saved, had not read yet, in one of my many open windows on the computer." But his article says how Enter the Spider-Verse changed animation.
Mm-hmm.
Like they use so many different animation styles in this one animation, and like how long it took to do, how many different artists they used, and did it. So it was like watching on the screen for the first time was like I remember watching the first time being like, this is another level.
Yeah.
This is another level. Oh my god! Like so, it's like just the artistry of it was like. Okay, what are they doing now? Like, like that's what's happening in my brain. Like, what? Right? So then, yo,
it's a canon event.
It's a canon event. Can't fuck with it, y'all. It's meant to be. This is what you get at I Am World, yo. Live and uncut.
Live and uncut.
Yeah, there's something about the first one was groundbreaking. Is like introduces everything, and the storytelling was so complete in the first one. The second one is like they just improve upon it. It's like oh man, this is ill. That's introducing this concept. And I think what makes it great, and this like might segue into the next thing, but like a friend of mine said on a group chat, he compared. Like, every movie now, everyone has a multiverse now, right? Of course, yeah. After Marvel bust out. And he said that Spider-Man Across the Spider-Verse multiverse was better than the Flash movie multiverse because in the Flash movie, because in Flash, the main message is that you can't change what happened in the past. Like everything's set in stone. Your destiny's set in stone. And in Spider-Man, Miles Morales, he actually challenges the concept of the canon events. And he's actually like, you make your own destiny. You don't have to follow these things. And that's the main message of the movie. Mm-hmm. And so, he was saying yes, well, Miles Morales is a superior multiverse movie to the Flash movie. And I was like, I kind of, going for that viewpoint, I like that. It segues to the next summer. I want to say blockbuster, but actually it was a dude. The Flash movie, the DCEU until it becomes DCU. Flash movie. Did folks see that movie?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. Bootleg, I paid for it.
You said
Yeah, you damn right I watched bootleg.
what are the thoughts on that, and what we think the thoughts of its impact in the world too? Given we can also talk about the main actor of that movie, and their antics.
I don't actually know too much about the antics, but one thing that I remember from that I felt about the movie, that it was really nice to like see my original Batman. You know?
Yeah.
Like, I was like, oh my god, they've been changing Batman so much that like everyone must have like an original Batman.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I mean, I did used to watch the TV show with Adam West, but obviously it was not when the original came out.
Right.
It was like reruns, but
just clarify.
just to clarify.
You know.
It's internet.
You know, I mean, I really miss that little boom.
Yeah.
Bam. That was like a joke.
Yep.
Yeah.
Comedy.
Yep.
But it was nice to see like that. It felt like nostalgic. And it was kind of comforting. I think we've like since Back to the Future, like we've seen so many like going back in timeline. Like it's almost like I think this may be also specific to a certain generation. Like there's almost like a comfort in the like, yep, they're gonna go back in time and it's gonna be like this and it's gonna like yeah, so like that was nice too. And that is all I remember. I mean, I remember the movie, but in terms of like impact or like what I felt like, I'm always so confused with what they're doing with the Justice League. And in general, because like their strategy, like I feel like the power of Marvel is like they're creating like an epic over time. Right? So they're like, these are our characters, furthermore, these are our actors, and you're moving in this epic story, like kind of like a Greek tragedy, Greek comedy kind of thing, and you're just moving with them over time, and all these different things are happening to them, and you can kind of like follow that. It's a long arc story. And with DC, like for better or worse, they're like absolutely not telling a long arc story. They're telling more like, I think their thing is more about morality, like a certain moral or ethical framework. So they're like, we're going to tell this story tons of different times with tons of different actors playing this character. And actually the character is going to be introduced through tons of different lenses. And you're going to keep learning this lesson over and over again through like how this character like transforms. I guess, I don't know, but it is like interesting. I can't say it's a tough fandom to be part of, like, but it's interesting. Like how it doesn't progress.
I think the way you're even discussing it gives it more credit than it does. I think they're just confused.
You think so?
Yeah.
Even from all the way back then?
I think, all right, from back then, I think they didn't have any concept of translating the shared universe onto the screen. Back then, they were just like, we're going to give people one character at a time. This is not connected. They probably thought that was too confusing for the average person. Only the geek comic nerds would get that in a comic book. Right, and so they just had no care for that, and they just wanted to like, okay, we could pump out a franchise of Batman, particularly, right? I think when Marvel showed by accident, actually, because Marvel actually themselves had, when they was pitching for investment from Marvel Studios, they did not pitch a shared universe. They pitched like, we're gonna make all the movies, but they're gonna be separate or whatever. And what some investors were like, why don't you try to be in the shared universe? Like, that would be interesting. You know what I mean? Like that would probably be different. And then they were like, oh, okay, well, we do this. And so they did it, right? Then they proved like that brings in money. And then DC was like, oh, yeah, we'll do a shared universe. So their latest round is their first time ever. Even though they had a huge head start. This is pure pop culture talk.
Yeah.
Right? They had a huge head start against Marvel. Like, they had the Superman movie since the 80s. They had Batman, Michael Keaton, since like 89, 88, right? We didn't get a Marvel movie until Blade. In like late 90s or 2000s. And then we didn't get a blockbuster until X-Men. Through Fox and Marvel stuff, right? And that created the whole new wave of like superhero movies happening in early 2000s. But like DC was like, we've been making movies, the superhero movies, and making them.
Yeah, and not to mention the DC animated shows.
Yeah,
like
those
were like the Batman animated series, Superman leading. Here's the crazy thing, right? They do the Batman animated series. The spin-off, Superman animated series is a spin-off of that. Static Shock is made. That's a spin-off of that universe. Justice League is made. That's a spin-off of this already designed. Yeah, so it's like they literally had the blueprint. At DC in the animated realm. They just had to copy and paste. That's all they had to do.
Yeah.
It's like they don't want their fans to feel cozy. Because you would feel so cozy, like if I turned on, like, say, Titans or whatever, and it was just the same frigging Batman. You know, that it wasn't like old Batman,
right?
With like who's never, you know what I mean?
Right.
Like
Titans on Max. HBO Max.
It would feel so good if those were like connected characters. You know, like actors even. Like, but it's not even just the actors. It's like it's a different character. It's like the equivalent of, you know, that was the movie Logan?
Which one?
With like with
it's 23, but 20, the little girl.
Yes, what's his character's name again? That's Logan's.
Wolverine. We're like,
Wait, it's almost like a different universe.
Yeah.
Professor X and Wolverine, and like, you know, it's like different timeline, different universe. And that's like, you know, that's a little like, it's almost like a morbid fantasy within that world. It feels like DC's doing that for every movie. You know? Yeah. So it's like you watch one Batman, at least you're getting a little trilogy, and the trilogy is like one character, and it's never developmental. But at least it's the same character, same actor. And then they're done with that person. New trilogy, it's the same point in time. It's not older, it's not younger, it's the same age. It's always like 47-year-old Batman. And you're like, has he learned anything? Like, and you said, this feels, it's cool, it's its own standalone story, but don't you want your people to like feel like they're having some movement?
Right.
You know, like, I don't know.
Right.
Yeah. Right. I mean, we still go and see it.
We still go see it.
Well, not the Flash. There ain't nobody
see it.
Do you think that was just because of the actors thing, or nobody wanted to see that movie? Because I don't feel like the humans out here, they're not that, like, skipping a movie because of the actors' behavior.
I don't know. I don't know. I think so. I think that had some...
Or maybe, like, they didn't market it as much as they could have.
I think it was a combination of those. I think there was a large chunk that was, like, Ezra's criminal behavior. Of the things that we've heard and read about, like, I think kidnapping people and assaulting women and things like that. I think there's a chunk of population that was like, about that, like sort of canceling them. And then I think, I think on top of that, they didn't market the movie because of that stuff. They didn't market as much as they would have, because they would have needed Ezra they didn't want to put Ezra in the spotlight too much, so they kept Ezra out of the spotlight, so they didn't market it as much. And third thing, they had already, before this movie came out, they had already announced this movie is almost like a leftover of the DCEU, which is their first iteration of their shared universe, right? They already announced, like, yeah, we're scrapping all that. That Superman you knew, that all those people, all those movies, no, that's not going to matter. The movies for the last 5-6 years, not going to matter at all. And this is actually like a leftover from that. But we've saved it because the storyline of it was good enough to actually help explain the new.
Yeah, because they needed the, like, multiple timeline, multiple universe thing.
Right. So
that's all they used it for.
So it felt, I mean, I remember when they announced that, I remember having the feeling of like, oh, well, I could watch this on streaming or something, right? Like, it's almost like, oh, okay, like you told me this kind of doesn't matter as much, but it might have some interesting things, you know? And I mean, I think what saved it was Michael Keaton being in it, the original Batman. Them changing the storyline a little, like the Supergirl.
It was great, by the way. I thought she was, I thought, and missed opportunity with Michael Keaton and with the new Supergirl as well. Honestly, like, if they pivoted at a certain point and said, you know what, we're going to make this a Batman movie.
Right.
It would have been, you know, like, all right, Batman's last hoorah, you know, he goes in there, you know, and then, multiverse the Batman. Bring George Clooney in, do that, you know, you know, and I feel like they had enough time to do that too, but you know, they were adamant about telling the story, and of course, you know, we see, like, you know, the Warner's moving a lot of the things around, like you said, like with like James Gunn coming in, there's like this really no need for this movie to sort of progress the story. Yeah. But again, it's like
is this Flash even coming back?
Yeah, it's like I don't, you know, how invested am I really? You know,
right.
And then this opportunity for not having Grant Gustin, the TV version of the Flash, come in. You know, like
I do not know what is their problem with that. There's like they're like all you TV, all our TV niggas. Y'all will not be on the silver screen.
Right.
Y'all not see the light of day.
It's the TV one that everyone's attached to and has been watching for years. Especially that, like, WB audience. You know, like that probably doesn't even really connect the TV show to, like, the idea of, like, Batman. You know, because it's like such a WB show in and of itself. It just has a little, like, superhero thing to it and, like, what have you. But, like, you know, it feels like a slightly different fandom, and it definitely feels like that, like, younger, like, like, you know, I don't know, Gilmore Girls. Or
young
adult audience.
Young adult contemporary.
Yeah. But a lot of folks, but that show's been on for like 10 years, 8 years, 10 years. You know, so it's like, why not?
Oh my God.
You know,
that was part of your Tuesday shows.
Flash.
Yeah. When I met Terry, he had, like, Tuesdays were sacred. Sundays were sacred. And Tuesdays especially was like, go home and watch The Flash and Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. with his sister. So I was like, okay, this guy's gonna go.
That was like me and my sister's thing. We was like, my sister would be like, "Where are you? We gotta watch Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D." I was like, "Yo, I'm there. 7:58, nigga. What you doing? Bring a snack. I was like, I can't miss that, yo. That's me and my sister's thing. Like, it's true. And Sunday nights was Walking Dead.
Walking Dead. Silicon Valley.
Talking Dead. Killing Eve. Some of the Sunday night shows try to come on.
Fear the Walking Dead.
Westworld. Oh, Westworld. Yeah, Westworld is the...
Westworld.
I mean...
First 2 seasons.
Right?
Okay, so I've, like, low-key been thinking about how the fate of a certain kind of show, like, shapes our imagination a little bit.
Mhm.
You know, so like I feel like
Mhm.
after Back to the Future, even through now, it's like the idea of like time travel.
Yes.
It's like people like think about time travel a certain way because of those shows. And then now they're introducing like multiverse,
Mhm.
you know, and like
Mhm.
and slash multi-reality. When I think about Westworld, it's not multiverse, but it is like multi-reality,
Mhm.
and like you never know what you're watching
Mhm.
in a way. I don't know. Part of me is kind of like it's good for people to have multiversal thinking,
Mhm.
you know, to imagine that like, you know, like this could have been different in another universe.
Yeah.
I could have been a different person.
Mhm.
You know, the person who is my whatever, like DNA, like my whatever, in another universe. But then part of me is like, is there something like weird about the collective shaping in lots of different shows? You know, or like what's going to be the consequence of like, I don't know, multiversal thinking.
Good question.
It is almost like, well, I kind of want to hear your thought,
Mm-hmm.
your projection of those concepts.
Well, I used to think it was good, you know, because it's like all these shows. It's like now it's the entire like MCU, you know, and then you know everything everywhere all at once, and then more and more shows are doing like, oh, it's an alternate universe or universes colliding or like seamlessly moving between universes, or which is like moving between alternate realities. I don't know if I can articulate like what feels tricky about it because I'm just thinking about our psyches,
Mm-hmm.
you know, and as we start to like, as people who watch these shows start to accept it as possible.
Mm-hmm.
Like I think that there's good in it,
We just gonna become a pure pop show.
which is fine.
Yeah.
So multiversal thinking, I would say a couple things I want to say on it is, well, one I think is interesting. One, again, comic book fan. Comic books have been way ahead of time. I felt I learned so much science by reading comic books, right? Because like, and I remember always thinking like, my older siblings, older people I knew, thought their image of what comic books were like, oh, you just, you know, it's like biff, bam, zoom, so, right? That's what people think like what you're reading, and I'd be like, yo, you don't understand like I would just be reading complex word structures in the paragraphs where you read what's going on, and then like it's science fiction, but particularly Marvel bases their stuff in real science. Yeah. So I would like read stuff and then go and read up about it. Be like, well, how possible is this thing? So Marvel been talking about the multiverse since the 60s and the 70s, right? And I think what's interesting about them putting it in the movie now is that in the last 10 years, within 10 years, I think less than that, they've proven scientifically, someone can correct me if I'm wrong, but I think they've proven scientifically that the multiverse is real.
Yeah.
Right? They found that, like, theoretically, the multiverse is real. Like, there's other dimensions. They start the Big Bang. There was more than one Big Bang. All this stuff. The universes are expanding.
But are they mirrors?
They, I don't know how much you know.
Yeah. I think that's the tricky thing about it. It's like, is this, like, there are even people that claim to be able to contact, like, their doppelganger or their another version of themselves from this reality in sort of another reality.
Mm-hmm.
You know, so I think we're just understanding more about, you know, ourselves through a lot of these things and you know, through sort of the multiverse thing. And I mean, for me, I think I sort of see it also as sort of a spiritual connection as well, like how, you know, especially when you're Caribbean, you know, somebody gonna have a dream about somebody, you know. It's like, but it's like, what's that? You know, is that sort of, you know, other versions of ourselves or our ancestors or some sort of communicating, you know, to us sort of telepathically or, you know, through this sort of different lens, and then it when you sort of juxtapose that to the multiverse and understanding multi-dimensional beings and all this kind of, like, you sort of do see a connection there, I think, you know? And I think at the same time, that is sort of the scary part in it being sort of digitized and monetized, you know, like with the VR, you know, thing, like the metaverse of it all and that kind of thing, you know, where you can literally sort of create an avatar of yourself that you can call a version of yourself, and you know what I mean. So it's like, so it is like these sort of psychological, physical, and like spiritual, I think, things that are sort of happening at the same time. And we have movies and TV shows that are kind of like speaking to that, and I think like just sparking, you know, things in our brain.
Yeah.
But it's interesting to kind of to see where this goes, because then it's like, you know, 40, 50 years ago, like we're thinking about, you know, traveling through space. You know, is the new norm going to be sort of traveling through dimension, or you know, is that, you know, and how I think that can be like the scary or tricky part, and the sort of you know, manipulating that. I mean, in all the sci-fi movies, that's what happens.
Somebody manipulates it. It's kind of like, did you see Man in the High Castle?
No, I haven't.
Oh, that's so good.
It's like that.
Well, it's like that, but it's terrible. Well, it's not all terrible, but like, it's like, just like quick summary. It's I think it's 4 seasons.
I think so.
4 seasons. It's on Amazon Prime.
Yep.
And it's about like it's not even the future. It's like the 1960s.
Yep.
60s, 70s?
60s. 60s,
if the Nazis had won World War II.
Wow.
It's just really creepy, but it's very compelling to watch, because it's also like, it's a lot of world building, and it's also like there's still a resistance, and there's like
it's in America.
It's in America, so you see like basically what has happened is like the Nazis have occupied the East Coast, coming from Europe, and the Japanese have occupied the West Coast.
Oh.
And you just see what fascism at scale,
right,
and how they relate back to basically they're colonizing America in the 40s, and then you see like 20 years after that, like you see the resistance, you see how they like they're not at war, so they're like rolling out like their visions, and then they kind of have to deal with each other, and they're not like permanent allies. So like there's a Germany and Japan. Yeah.
Right.
So there's like a demilitarized zone in the middle where people kind of like
in the Rocky Mountains,
and it's like it's not governed by either one, but like it's like a no man's land. It's not a safe place to be, but people kind of try to escape there. And you see like how did they deal with Black folks? How did they deal with Jewish folks? Like, you know, what did they do with the rest of the world? You know, it's very scary. It's not a happy show, but there's a resistance, and so you get to like watch from the point of view of the resistance. But the whole premise of the show, though, is that there is like alternate reality, and the alternate reality is what really did happen in real life, is our world. And so like people know about these. There's like a bunch of films that travel through these portals, but the portal is not physical. It's like mental. So like people who travel to the alternate reality at first, for the first 3 seasons, it's just something mental that they're able to do. And then, and there's like films going back and forth. And basically what the resistance is doing is going to our reality, getting the films that show the fascists losing and showing them to the people to like raise the resistance. Yeah, and then Hitler knows about these films, and Hitler likes watching these films too.
I didn't really be like watching them.
Yeah, in the 60s. So he's like watching them as well. But he also is like considered like a weak and ineffectual leader. So there's multiple coups against him that are always happening anyway. And he's not. I don't think as a character we ever even see his face in the film, in the show.
Yeah.
But then it's like eventually the Nazis find out about this alternate universe. You know, and try to like, you know, they want to occupy it because they're fascists. They just want to, you know, I don't think they ever really do much, but like, there's also like becomes like a physical place. Apparently, there's one place on Earth where you can physically pass through and get to it. Anyway, it's another show about alternate reality.
That's dope.
Yeah.
I love that concept because wasn't it like the Resistance, the guy of the Resistance that was helping curate the films? He was like, this gives people hope.
Yeah.
Like, that's why they was smuggling the films out, because there's like, if people could see the alternative universe.
Oh shit, that's more like our shit.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah, so if you could see the alternate future,
They gave them hope to like
gives them hope
away.
to fight.
Yeah.
Because he can see it's possible.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's worth watching if you can stand the like to see that, because it's like it's not a happy thing to see the Nazis running America. But
What's really dope though is the resistance. The resistance wins against the Japanese occupying forces first, and they forced Japan to withdraw. But the resistance is led by the Black Communist Underground. And you see them take over all of the Western U.S. and they declare like, "Oh, this is like a black nation." It's, I can't believe they wrote that in there. Like,
Alright, this is giving me goosebumps.
and then their leader is Fred Hampton. For the yeah.
So okay. So they actually use like real sort of like figures and stuff that would be around in that time. And
He's the only name.
he's the only name we know.
Yeah, that we know.
But I don't know, like if, like let's say the Jewish resistance, like
Right.
I don't know if some of this might be real, but
Yeah.
yeah.
wow, that's mind blowing. Because it makes you think, what if that shit is real? I don't know. Like the Mandela effect, like that kind of thing where it's like, damn, yeah, what if this was one thing? Like, we really wouldn't know if there were time travelers, like,
we
fucking with us, you know?
We'd be screwed if there was time travel.
Yeah, but we wouldn't know, you know?
You think someone could resist like spilling that secret?
Yeah, someone would blow the whistle.
In the movies, somebody always sees someone entering an alley and doing something weird.
Yes,
You know, like in the Umbrella Academy. It's always like, where are they going? Where'd they come from?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Somebody's always like suspecting people doing something weird and like following them.
Yeah.
But I don't know.
Last thing I'll say on this, I would say quick, like, there is something about multiversal thinking too that I think, like, what I think about is that time when we were driving from Boston.
You said travel to another universe.
Was it that time traveling universe last Thursday?
Don't tell anybody about that.
I said that's between you and I. Last summer when we went for my niece's wedding from Boston back to New York, I remember we was in Boston and then we was like, what we felt fun was like, yo, we're gonna stop in these towns on the way back. So we came through Connecticut and I think we stopped in Stamford or something. So one of the towns.
New Haven.
Oh yeah, New Haven. Did we stop in Rhode Island too? Either way, I think we stopped at 4 cities on the way back to including Boston, New York.
Mm-hmm.
We stopped in 4 cities, 2 cities in between. And I remember when we got home, I remember thinking that day, wait, for some reason this is bugging to me that in one day, within 12 to 14 hours, I have a memory of actively doing something in Boston, in New Haven, in let's say Providence, if we just know, in Providence, and in New York City. something felt weird. That to me felt multidimensional. That and that I had a memory of what on any given day. Like we only know about ourselves, like materially, right? Like I don't know what people are doing outside right now, but I have an imagination of what's happening outside at this very moment. Before I came to the house, I saw people at the bar in the corner and stuff. I know from every night they're probably still out there, right? I have an imagination of what goes on in New York City, even though I'm physically right here, right now, right? It's hard for me to conceive. I know this exists, but I don't think about there is somebody who's chilling in their house in Denver, Colorado at the same exact moment as me. And they're doing same exact things. And people are going out and getting food or hanging out, right? Yeah. The same exact time as us. Now, traveling in a car across the city, I got to see what people were doing in 4 different cities in one day. And I have a memory of that. And to me, there's something about also being regions are similar to each other. So like New England and like New York, and there's like a familiarity. So like even when I remember that day, one of the towns we stopped in, New Haven or something, was having like Latino like Heritage Month Day. Yeah. And it just felt very Boston to me.
Was that Worcester?
Was that Worcester?
Something like that.
We went to Worcester. It was like Worcester, New Haven, and New York or something. Yeah. Like, yeah, and it was just like, it just felt like a different version of Boston. And I was like, wow, this is happening today? Like, what would I have been doing in Boston today? What would I have been doing in New York today or something, right? So I don't know where that goes, but I feel like there's something about that, the multiversal thinking can help you in some way, I don't know, have empathy or think, or have empathy, but also think about, just have acknowledgement. Like, wait, we're all doing different things. Like, there's different stories happening. It's not just me. Yeah. Right? It's all, and we're connected at the same time. We're interconnected, and all these things that have like, that's something's fascinating about that. Yeah. On some level, you know? Yeah. And like that, in one day being 4 cities in one day thing is to me kind of like multiversal travel. You know, like you're like, oh wait, I just saw. So I should have memories of 4 different cities in one day physically, but that is possible, right? And especially when you go across time zones, you're time traveling. Yeah, in a sense too. Yeah. So like all those things are happening.
Yeah, that's a good point. Yeah.
Oh, are we wrapping up?
I think so.
All right. Winding down. How do we outro this?
I guess we kind of like
stare at the camera. All right, y'all. We'll see y'all next time. Maybe next week. Maybe that's the rhythm we'll go by. Bye.
No, I'm kind of just feeling like a fade out.
Yeah.
Personally.
It's gonna zoom in on that. Zoom in on his head.
And cut.